Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. It's March 13th. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope you're having a great day so far. We're going to get started with the before market close video and market update. If anybody does have any ticker requests, as always, please place them inside of Slack. And let's go. Taking a look at the crypto market. So we are seeing a decent recovery off the lows here after SVB and then Signature Bank collapsed. I've never seen anything like it, really. The amount of the orchestration that we have in the markets. If you take a look at Silicon Valley Bank, all of the people that were involved, all of the tech companies that were involved, it's no wonder that they got bailed out, right? You're talking big tech companies like Roku, Airbnb, even Ripple admitted that they had some exposure to these banks. So the fact that Wall Street banks, not only that, but the fact that it just looks like it's controlled demolition, right? If we take a look at all the parties involved, and they're all crypto friendly, right? And it's a continuation of the regulators cracking down, right? And raising interest rates, these fractional reserve banking. We knew that with the rate of money printing, with the inflation and the rates that were continuing to go up, it's just a matter of time before these banks start to have problems. And like I said, why is it that they were all crypto friendly amidst all of this crypto crackdown, right? We know that they're saying that Ethereum is now a security, XRP being deemed a security, and Ripple lawsuit with the SEC, which could end at some point this month, or we could get a verdict on summary judgment. We'll see. It could go to a jury trial as well. But all of this starting to wrap up around the same time just leaves a lot more questions than answers. So going to get started with the analysis here on Bitcoin. Like I said, we are very, very strong at the moment, coming off the lows. Bitcoin off of the low there. We're now up 25%, almost 26%. So we had the low there at 19,559. And what have I been saying for at least a couple weeks now? I said expect to pull back to around $18,000 to $19,000. Sure enough, we dropped down to around 19,500, right? We hadn't had any weekly consolidation. So tune out all news, tune out all contagion, all fear, uncertainty, doubt, and greed, and everything else, right? All emotions, take that out of the equation. When you see a move like this, right, where we had no support, so once we lost support here at 21,370 on the weekly time frame, we had no support for 23%. And then we only dropped from there, not even 9%. So again, when we have no support, tune out all news, tune out all contagion. This was to be expected, right? You don't need a bank collapsing or two banks or three banks collapsing in the midst, during the span of 3 days for us to be surprised that we're seeing this pullback, right? This was to be expected. So again, this is why learning technical analysis or having at least some concept of support and resistance can really help us, because it's usually the news that comes out after we break support, right? When we broke support, then the news came out, right, about these banks failing. And in my opinion, nothing happens in the financial markets by coincidence. It's all planned. And usually the charts tell us what's going to happen first. And in this case, we were given a multi-week heads up that we were going to see more than likely some weakness here. And then once we lost 21,370, I would argue that this is actually not even that big of a correction. And then if we zoom out to the monthly time frame, we're just starting monthly consolidation, and look at the bulls buying the dip here, how much buying pressure we've seen off of those lows. And now we're at the point where we could potentially change the monthly trend. So if we form a higher low here, confirm a weekly uptrend, indicate that our monthly higher low is set, and then if we break resistance here at 25,262, we're back in a monthly uptrend, right? We've already had the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross out of the way. So while most people are freaking out and losing their mind, they're failing to realize that, we're just looking for a monthly higher low that we knew was needed to be confident that this move is really for real and that we're heading back up to around 40 or 50,000. And here we are looking for a monthly higher low. We'll be confident in the monthly higher low being set once the weekly uptrend is confirmed. But in terms of the daily time frame, and again, what did we learn about the weekly time frame? What did we learn about the monthly? When we have no support nearby, after a big move, we need to expect a big pullback. And look at this, what just happened on the daily time frame. We have no support, huge move. So expect a big pullback, right? So don't be surprised if crypto from here, right? If we were to pull back from here and start daily consolidation, which we know is needed because we still have yet to confirm a daily uptrend, That means we'd have to pull back at least 10% just to start daily consolidation to give us a daily higher low, which we need the higher low and then a higher high to be in a daily uptrend. So we could easily pull back 10-15% on Bitcoin and just be looking for a daily higher low. It'll just be healthy. Everybody on news media will be screaming FUD and fear and uncertainty and doubt, and all retail investors will be losing their mind because they don't understand why we're down 10%. But if they just knew technical analysis and the fact that we have no support nearby, they would understand that this was to be expected, right? So just a peace of mind and knowing how to deal with emotions versus a deer caught in headlights. Mara, BTCC, FBTC leading the bull list today. Riot, huge day today, up almost 20%. Currently, on the bear list, we have BTC shorts, not surprising, HP and Songbird. Take a look at the S&P 500 here, just taking a look at some of our news updates in Powell Group. So we did see a nice rally there in crypto. We're seeing a decent rally here in precious metals as well. But again, still no daily uptrend confirmed. We are no longer in a daily downtrend with a break of the lower high, lower low pattern. But we still need a higher low and a higher high on silver. And look at that move on gold. Pretty much the same as Bitcoin, really. But about 6% off the lows. Not as much as Bitcoin. Bitcoin had about 25% off the lows. 26% actually. So we're finally seeing the fear subside. And then again, this was to be expected. I was 99.9% sure they were going to bail out these banks because they're all tied to big tech, right? They're not going to it's not going to be that easy, right? The black swan is really going to be a black swan, and everybody was expecting contagion today, right? Everybody was expecting, what to hit the fan today. And it's not a coincidence that they had a meeting last night at 11 p.m. at night and decided to save this bank. It's because it's all tied to Wall Street, right? To big tech, right? So they're not gonna let those companies fail, right? Or those companies get affected. So the next bailouts, though, may not go so well, and it'll more than likely be the average retail investor and the average Joe who suffer, not the the rich, right? It's usually the way it goes. So whenever we know that Signature Bank, SVB, when those fail, no wonder they got bailed out because it's all big tech, right? It was mostly the big tech companies that had money in there. So of course they're going to bail them out. And Congress still owns stocks, right? So watch for Congress being banned from owning stocks to mark a potential top. But they can't let tech fail because they still own stocks and they need to ban themselves from owning it, right? Can't have fair and orderly markets like the SEC's mission is set out to do, because that would be ludicrous, right? We can't have unmanipulated markets because there's criminals in our political system, right? They should be behind bars. If we did that, if we got caught for doing what they do, insider trading, they're doing insider trading at the highest levels, we go to the jail for the rest of our lives, right? More than likely. Or if we got caught printing money or counterfeiting money, and then here are our politicians printing trillions and trillions of dollars, wondering why these interest rates are going up, wondering why inflation is bad, wondering why these banks are failing. It's a clown show. It's a monkey could figure this out, right? I told people a year ago that we were going to have inflation at the highest, we've ever seen, and they're going to manipulate it. They're trying to redefine what a recession is. It's almost laughable, right? I just think we're all so stupid. It's just appalling, right? It's offensive. Anyways, I digress. But SPY, just a monthly higher low forming as well, just like Bitcoin, and we still yet to confirm a monthly uptrend. So if we get this higher low, which we're forming now, we'll be confident that the monthly higher low is set by a change of the weekly trend. So as we confirm a weekly uptrend, we'll be confident the monthly higher low is set, and then it'll be all about resistance there at 418.31. If we hold the low there at 346.52, form this monthly higher low, then break resistance at 418.31, we'll be back in a monthly uptrend. And we could potentially see a monthly inverse head and shoulders, like I've been saying, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So if we pull back to around the 360 area, that's a potential for a right shoulder. And if we confirm, that would bring us up to around 480, which would be a new all-time high. And in order to confirm, I would either need to see a monthly candle close over 410. Actually, I'd say even 411. And then another way to confirm would be to break above 428. So if we break above 428, then we're going to break out those lower high patterns, and that would be a confirmation that we're likely heading back up to all-time highs and confirming that inverse head and shoulders. But can't lose sight of the fact that we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly time frame here. So that's why I think that we could go down to around that 360, form that right shoulder, because of the fact that we still have that monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross to get it out of the way. Bitcoin already saw its, so again, it's just increasing the odds that we're going to see that across the broader market. Tesla already saw its as well, starting monthly consolidation, just looking for a monthly higher low. So lots of monthly trend change out there. Possibilities. The dollar. So the dollar, like I said, the most likely scenario on the dollar is a monthly lower high, right? Anything under 114.77 is a monthly lower high, and right now it looks to be forming. So if we break below support there at 182, then that's going to confirm a monthly downtrend now, as we would have our lower high and lower low, and that would be extremely positive for upside potential on the S&P 500 and in crypto, right? The broader market. Anything under 106 is a monthly bear flag. Just going to move this out of the way here. Some old ones. Let's take a look at the measured move here. So yeah, anything under 106.46, so we'll say 106.50, is a monthly bear flag on the dollar. And if we take a look at the measured move, that lines up with our previous support there at 94. It's funny just how technical analysis just perfectly lines up with support and resistance in these targets, right? Again, it's not a end-all be-all. It's not, a blueprint. It's not to be taken, with 100% accuracy. But it's funny how these targets, right, line up perfectly with our previous support. So it's saying here we could go down to around 94 on the dollar. Right, that would likely put us around like weekly oversold, like I've been calling for a while now. And like I said, if we confirm this monthly bear flag and downtrend, that's going to be extremely positive for crypto and stocks. But SPY on the daily time frame today, breaking to a daily lower low. The reason why I think, if you're wondering how come Bitcoin's seeing 26% move off the bottom and the S&P 500 is breaking to a daily lower low and isn't seeing, as much strength comparatively as Bitcoin, well, you got to keep in mind that Bitcoin's been trading all weekend, right? And until stocks are tokenized, right, like in something like XRP Ledger, which eventually I think will happen, eventually, at the end of the year, when you go to do tax loss selling, they tell you to sell it 3 business days before the end of the year, and that's because it takes 3 days to settle those transactions on the back end, right? To you, you're like, well, what do you mean? In my account, I sell it and I get money right away. But the broker on the back end, right, in these clearinghouses, it settles after about 3 days, right? And these stock certificates, right? So if we could tokenize stock certificates, and it's already happening, right? There's already companies that are already doing fractional trading. You can trade fractional shares of Tesla. You can do it 365, 24/7, 365. So there's tons of companies already doing it. So eventually, in my opinion, in New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, TSX, all of these big exchanges are going to be tokenized, and we're going to see stocks trading on the blockchain. They're going to settle with finality, not in 3 days, but in 3 seconds with the XRP Ledger. It's 3 second settlement. So not just any kind of value, right? You can use derivatives, you could use stocks, you could use bonds, you could use mortgages, you could use like all these deeds, right? You can through NFTs and things like that. So there's tons of value that can be tokenized, and so much benefit from that, right? Instead of taking 3 days to settle with a stock sale, then it'll take 3 seconds, right? And then we'll be able to trade stocks 24/7, 365, just like we are crypto, right? So again, going back to my point is, why is crypto seeing such a big upside today versus the S&P 500? Well, from the high of Friday, the S&P 500 only dropped 3.5%, not even. Crypto in 2 days dropped over 10%, right? Or since Friday, we're now up 25%, but again, we're down, right? From the high there, we were down 22%, and it's just more volatile, right? That's why we pulled back more, so we recover harder, and we were already pulling back a ton into the weekend, right? Because of this news, and then the S&P 500 didn't see a pullback over the weekend because it wasn't trading. So therefore, today we're starting to see that downside, right, just pick up in the S&P 500, and we're starting to see it catch up to that weakness, right? And then if we take a look at the weekly time frame on the S&P 500, again, we had no weekly support. I said anything over 374.77 is just a weekly high or low, and we could even see a head and shoulders here on the weekly time frame while we look for further monthly consolidation and a possible inverse head and shoulders on the monthly time frame. And we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the weekly as well, indicating more downside and a potential for this neckline somewhere around that 375 area. Nice round psychological number as well. But again, now we're in a weekly downtrend actually with a lower high and lower low. So that indicates monthly consolidation. But I said we had no weekly support. We hadn't consolidated on the weekly time frame in over 2 months. And again, people are just still surprised. It's technical analysis 101. And we had no support all the way down to 375. And here we are down to 380. I said I wouldn't be surprised. In one of the chat threads in Slack a couple of days ago, wouldn't be surprised if we pulled back to 380, 370. Here we are today, 380.65, right? Not that I have a crystal ball, not that we know for sure. It's just the most likely scenario, and I would say that was about an 80% probability, and here we are. It was 100% probability. Well, nothing's ever still 100%, even in hindsight's 2020, but it's close, pretty close to as 100% as we could get. But Tesla breaking to a daily lower low, very similar to SPY. Very similar charts. And again, just monthly consolidation beginning, looking for a monthly high or low and a trend change attempt. Hexo up almost 4.5% today, which is great to see. Starting the daily bounce. So while the S&P 500, Tesla is breaking to daily lower lows, Hexo is breaking the high of Friday and bouncing on the daily time frame. And we have no resistance all the way up to 166, and then after that, the high of the bounce at 185. In terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have MVMD, Bed Bath & Beyond, that's Bombardier, and then Bed Bath & Beyond leading the decline. On the bull list, we have Riot, Hive, not surprising, and Coinbase. So a lot of our blockchain names, Coinbase exchanges, seeing lots of green today, not surprising, with Bitcoin up 25% in a couple of days. In terms of Canadian MJ, we have DB, Fire and Flower, and Labs leading the decline. On the bull list, we have PWR, NOVC, and Hexo. USMJ, CNVCF, CXXI, KHRN leading the decline, and on the bull list we have Ian, LOWL, and BAM. So MSOS continues to be weaker. HMMJ as well. Hexo definitely standing out as one of the leaders here. CGC breaking to a daily lower low, but not that much follow through back within Friday's range. Same thing with Tilray, but very similar to the S&P 500. Tilray just set a new all-time low, which I was calling for. All-time low is 243, and we hit 234. And this is why I've been saving money in my TFSA to dollar cost average into these names, as we knew that the S&P 500 was likely due for monthly consolidation, inverse head and shoulders, looking for that right shoulder, and it just wasn't set up well at all. The lawsuit, multiple lawsuits going on against Tilray. So I might look to add, probably won't add it today, may look to add it again tomorrow in my long-term no touch. We're just touching down on daily oversold. But MSOS getting close to all-time lows and breaking to a daily lower low today. Truly very, very close. So pretty much all MJ very close. USMJ pretty similar, but notable that Hexo is up almost 4.5% and bouncing on the daily and didn't lose Friday's low. Right now, it's a perfect double bottom at 137. So that would have been a double off that double bottom would have been a great trade to go along as well, leading into earnings. And I would argue that we're getting this weakness in the broader market out of the way now is a good thing, because we're expecting earnings more than likely at some point after hours on Thursday. We want to see official confirmation from Hexo as always. As of late, they've been pretty late. They haven't been getting the press releases out until usually a couple of days before the earnings. So we should see some sort of communication over the next few days, I would think, from Hexo, and then that'll tell us when the earnings will be released. And then confirmation on the earnings call. But as I mentioned, Haley from Kaiser Partners, third party that manages their investor relations, said that it would be Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time would be the conference call. But again, we want to see official confirmation from Hexo, and then, like I said, we either see the financials out more than likely on Thursday evening or Friday morning. And then, like I said, the fact that we're getting this market weakness out of the way now could be a good thing leading into Hexo earnings on Friday. If we get positive adjusted EBITDA or some other good news from that, right? If we beat on revenue estimates, then this thing could fly with some market strength as well, some broader market strength, right? Get this weakness out of the way, and then it'll be headwinds as opposed to tailwinds as opposed to headwinds. So we'll see if Hexo can beat. Expecting around 41 million revenue and negative 0.02 for EPS. And that's in Canadian. All right, checking in on the Power Group community. Not seeing any ticker requests at the moment, so we're going to start wrapping it up. Mortgage rate tumble in the wake of bank failures. Tumbled to 6.57% Monday, the 30-year fixed mortgage, according to Mortgage News Daily, which my mortgage that I got on my condo currently is only like 2.5%. So 6.57%, still pretty bad. And again, that's why I locked in my mortgage rate at 2.5%, because I saw this coming, right? That's why I sold both my real estate properties during the pandemic, because when a house goes up 100% in value or over 100% in value, in my opinion, you got to run for the hills. You got to sell that. You got to take that and then run for the hills, and then either rent or buy a cheap condo like I did. Lock in a small interest rate right before interest rates are going to go up, because a monkey could have told you that interest rates were going to go up, because they print trillions of dollars and they keep interest rates near zero for the longest time, right? So it's like I said, it's not rocket science, and a monkey could have figured out that interest rates would continue to go up and inflation was going to be an issue, right? It just doesn't happen as quickly as most people like, right? And then people forget about it, or they lose track of it, or they just don't think it's going to be an issue anymore. It's like, oh, enough time has elapsed. Maybe it won't be an issue, right? But sometimes it can be 6 months. Sometimes it can be 12 months. What did Warren Buffett always say? It takes him 6 months to get in and out of a position, to switch from long to short, right? You know, to finish buying or to finish selling takes them about 6 months, because they're whales, right? They have billions of dollars. So again, usually things can take 6 to 12 months. Why do you think after golden crosses occur, it takes so long for the price to see momentum to the upside, right? It's because of the same thing. Whales takes around average 4 to 6 months to get in and out of positions. So look at this. Golden cross happened here on Bitcoin in April of 2019. Then we came down death cross, and we had another golden cross, and that occurred here in May of 2020, going into the summer of 2020. And then prices at around $10,000. And then in 2021, April, we peaked, and then we dropped, and then we came up, formed another new all-time high. But my point is it's a year before that price actually saw its true upside, right? And its momentum to the upside, and then we saw the reversal, right? So it can take years. It can take 6 to 12 months to see the real move, right? So nice move on Bitcoin, though. Crypto in general. I would expect the bottom to be in soon on the S&P 500. Maybe 375 would be a good area. If we lose 375, like I said, watch for 360 for that right shoulder to form on a potential IHS. And yeah, we're seeing tons of golden crosses. BTC, golden cross. You even got Ethereum, which is basically being said that in the lawsuit that Ethereum is a security. I don't believe Ethereum is a security today. Was it at one point, or did they breach securities laws? Yes, I think that they sold ETH as an unregistered security because of investment contract, because there was an ICO. But as of today, I don't think Ethereum is a security, right? But I do think that Ethereum could be next in a lawsuit, and that'll be a massive blow to the space. But again, I think we're going to see one more move in the crypto space, one more big move, maybe even an alt season. I think we'll see a big move in equities, in stocks, and then Congress being banned from owning stocks will likely mark the top. And then we're going to probably see the worst crash in history, leading into the end of 2023 and maybe even into March, April 2024. But I think it'll be a sell in May and go away type of scenario this year. Then into the summer, things will ramp up. Then into the fall, it'll really pick up the selling pressure. And then, like I said, it'll just be absolute, Armageddon leading again into the end of the year. Tax loss selling, all that stuff. Multiple, there's just going to be, it's not going to be good, in my opinion. And then, like I said, we should potentially expect a bottom somewhere around this time next year. Maybe even longer. That's why I'm hedging. I got, a 6-figure cash position. I've got all my retirement account is in money market funds, right? I've got MJ long positions. I've got crypto utility positions. I've got some real estate portfolio, right? But again, focusing on the condo market, ones that aren't overvalued, ones that aren't extremely expensive. So even if the real estate market were to drop 50%, who cares if you have a $100,000 condo? That's only 50 grand. If you have a $500,000 home and the market drops 50%, that's $250,000, right? So that's a big difference. Especially when something's undervalued too, right? If you're buying a condo that's $100,000 that sold for $200,000 10 years ago, well, that's undervalued, right? The condo I live in right now sold for, I think, $150,000 13 years ago, and it's worth, 60, 70 now. So that is extremely undervalued, and I don't think it's going to drop any more than 10, 20,000 from current levels, right? So even if it did drop 10, 20,000, I wouldn't care, right? Even if it dropped 50,000, I wouldn't care. But that would basically be giving it away for free at that point. So I can't see that happening. And some Teslas cost more. So, but yeah, tons of golden crosses, XRP, golden cross, no shortage of them. XLM, very close to seeing its golden cross. All right, 1 minute left, less than 1 minute. And SPY trying to close the day green, but in the red at the moment. And like I said, upper wick. Wouldn't be surprised if we pulled back to around 375. Lose 375, watch 360 for that inverse head and shoulders, potential right shoulder. And the market is closed. And yeah, the fact that we're having all this turmoil and bank failures does increase the odds that the Feds may not raise interest rates this month, or maybe not nearly as much as we're expecting. But I think that it could come as a pause. And if that happens, the market's going to absolutely soar. And then, like I said, we'll probably see Congress getting banned from owning stocks over the next couple months. And then it'll be a sell in May, go away. It'll be a summer. Everybody will be golfing and, getting off the computer. All the Wall Street crooks, insider traders will be getting away from the markets. And then into the fall, I think they'll be shorting. And then we're probably going to see the worst crash in history. And then into 2024, there'll be buying opportunity of a lifetime. Going to end it there, though. Have a great night. See everybody in the chat room in a few minutes.